Chapter 12. Reunion. After returning from the secluded valley, another half-month passed. Zhang Xiaofan had been in Qingyun Sect for exactly 3 years, and he had also finished his bamboo cutting career. However, the results he produced at the end were embarrassing even to himself. Because of the inexplicable trip to the secluded valley, Zhang Xiaofan often felt dizzy and weak in the following half-month, easily fatigued. He quietly speculated that perhaps the massive bleeding he vaguely saw while in a daze that day had caused it, but he checked his body all over and found no injuries. Feeling uneasy, but afraid to ask his master, so he buried it in his heart. But his silence was met with a physical response. Usually, he could at least cut off to large black knotted bamboos, but now he was panting and sweating profusely after just a few chops, unable to even cut through one. This was not surprising, considering that the blood-devouring beast had sucked nearly half of his essence and blood in the secluded valley. If his body hadn't been strong, he would probably have been bedridden long ago. But Zhang Xiaofan's desire to cut bamboo like before was nothing but wishful thinking. This situation persisted until Zhang Xiaofan felt a slight improvement in his body and spirit after half a month. However, the bamboo cutting assignment also ended at this time. On the last day, under the watchful eyes of senior brother Songdare, who came to inspect, Zhang Xiaofan exerted all his strength and finally cut off one black knotted bamboo before the end of the hour. Senior brother Songdare and others looked at each other in silence. Speechless, only Tianlinger walked up, patting his shoulder with a smile. Xiaofan, it's okay. You have about 1/10 of my ability, which is already pretty good. Zhang Xiaofan smiled bitterly. At 10 o'clock in the evening, everyone sat around the dining hall of Zhu Peak. After Mr. and Mrs. Tia sat down, Songdare first reported Zhang Xiaofan's situation. Tianlinger sighed lightly. Xiaofan, you've been with us at Zhu Peak for 3 years. Zhang Xiaofan quickly said, yes, mother. Mrs. Tia sighed softly. Time flies so fast. It's been 3 years in the blink of an eye. Then, suddenly pausing, she raised her voice and asked the other 6 disciples, don't you guys feel the same? The disciples of Zhu Peak all straightened up immediately, saying yes. Mrs. Tia hummed and said, now your little junior brother has grown up, but you guys have made no progress in 3 years. Are you going to make me and your master angry? No one dared to speak, but they all looked at Songdare. Under the urging of other disciples, Songdare, with a bold face, said, mother, rest assured, we will surely do well this time. Mrs. Tia clearly showed her disbelief, just about to speak when Mr. Tia suddenly interjected. Number 6. Du Bishu trembled all over, raising his head in surprise. Master, did you call me? Mr. Tia said lightly, these days, I've seen you dancing around the pots and pans in the kitchen during your free time. What's going on? Du Bishu blushed, stammering, Master, how did you see it? Mrs. Tia exclaimed, Bishu, what's the matter? Du Bishu hesitated for a moment before saying in a low voice, disciple wanted to see if those things could move under the influence of mental power. Everyone was shocked. Manipulating objects was the fundamental basis for practicing magical treasures in Qingyun Sect's Taoist arts, and it was unimaginable without reaching the 4th level of the Taichi Profound Cleanse Dao Yuking realm. Mr. Tian nodded, though his expression remained neutral, a hint of joy flickering in his eyes. He said, how's it going? Du Bishu whispered. It seemed ... It seemed to move a bit. A loud gasp echoed, and everyone was delighted. Leduxin, sitting beside him, vigorously patted his shoulder with a smile all over his face. Mrs. Tia, across from him, also smiled and said, good boy, I didn't expect you to do well. When did this happen? Du Bishu, infected by everyone's enthusiasm, relaxed and said, just recently, a few days ago, I was practicing in my room and suddenly found that under the power of thought, the cup on the table moved a bit. I wondered if I had broken through to the 3rd level, but I wasn't sure, so I kept trying, and unexpectedly, Master found out. Mr. Tia smiled. That's right. Although there's a world of difference between the 4th and 3rd levels of the Yuking realm, there is no obvious difference in the beginning. You're clever. Though you entered late, you've overtaken many. Everyone laughed and congratulated him. Meanwhile, Tia Linger interjected, Senior Brother 6, have you decided on what magical treasure to cultivate? Du Bishu was taken aback for a moment. Not yet. I just confirmed from Master that I've reached the 4th level recently, and I haven't had time to think about it. Mrs. Tia smiled and said, no hurry. Think about it slowly these days. But you know your master's temperament. He never forces you to practice the immortal sword. Whatever you like, just think about it and find the materials. Zhang Xiaofan, extremely envious on the side, saw his 6th senior brother smiling from ear to ear and heard Mr. Tiao to find good materials and spiritual objects to cultivate magical treasures. As for whether you can obtain the divine objects that gather the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, it depends on. Among the senior brothers for the past 3 years, Du Bishu was the youngest and the most lively, and Zhang Xiaofan was closest to him. Now that he was leaving, Zhang Xiaofan felt quite reluctant. He felt that the atmosphere on Daju Peak had suddenly become a bit more lonely. Subsequently, Zhang Xiaofan began his second task at Qingyun Sect, cooking. On the first day of officially cooking and frying, he spent the whole morning alone in the kitchen, happily busy with washing rice and vegetables. Unconsciously, it was already noon when Tia Bai and others entered the dining hall. They found the table already set with dishes as usual, and Zhang Xiaofan was sitting at the end of the table, hands clasped together, nervous. It was palpable to anyone. As everyone sat down, Tia Bai didn't say a word, but Su Ryu glanced at Zhang Xiaofan and smiled slightly, saying, Xiaofan, how does it feel to cook for the first time?